We're joined by Brandon Herrera and Keith Barton. Kiko Canseco was RSVP, but he was unable to make it tonight. So we'll talk about the purpose of the forum and the importance of this race. Personally, I love forums. I've been doing it for a long time. At one point, people were saying that I was a professional candidate. I never got paid, so, but I've done a lot of them, and they're very important. It's important that you know who the candidates are, who you're voting for, and thank you to Gabrielle for pointing out, how quickly something can change when the wrong person gets there. Now you may be wondering how we devised questions for tonight's forum. In order to ensure integrity and trust in the process, the questions are only known by me. No one else knows what question I'll ask tonight. No question is intentionally written to favor one candidate over another. I do have rules for the forum, so this is for the candidates. Oh, y'all got mics too. Oh, those are recording mics. Okay, copy that.
Just recording mics?
All right.
We're only recording on the camera out there. Okay.
All right. Each candidate will be allowed to answer the proposed questions and must do so in 2 minutes or less. We have a designated timekeeper, Kim Keith. She will be monitoring the time and can you ring that so they know what to listen for? There you go.
I can hear that.
All right. After each candidate answers a question, we'll start with alternate candidates. And so candidates, here's another rule. Candidates must not look at their phones, smartwatches, smart glasses, utilize an earpiece during this forum. I don't think we're going to have this problem at all with these guys. And you, believe it or not, I've seen all kinds of crazy things. The audience is allowed to clap after each candidate, and I actually would encourage it. I don't like going to forums where they tell you not to clap. I don't understand that. So if you like an answer, let the candidate know that you appreciate what they said. For the candidates, let's do our best to keep it clean. No biting, no vulgarity, and no eye gouging. And the same for the audience.
No touching of the hair or face.
And okay, first I'm going to ask. We're going to start with Brandon first, and we're going to do a 1-minute introduction.
Well, it's good to see everybody again. My name is Brandon Herrera. I'm running for, of course, Congressional District 23 against Tony Gonzalez. Last cycle, I jumped into the race. It was probably the worst decision I've ever made in my life, but I was very frustrated with the votes of my congressman. His votes for Biden gun control, his votes against Chip Roy's border bill, his absolute failure as a congressman to represent conservative values and Republican values. So I jumped in. My background is I'm a firearm manufacturer and designer based out of San Antonio, Texas. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a business owner here in the district, all across Texas and the country. And I think this country needs to be run like a business. And I think that's one of the things that Donald Trump has exemplified in. And I think that this is something that the country and the district desperately needs. I really wished we came within 400 votes of beating the congressman last time. We took him to a runoff. We got that close to having an actual conservative represent the district. This is going to be the cycle. I think we take care of that problem. And with your help, I think we can do it. So thank you all very much for being here again. And I'm looking forward to sending an actual conservative voice to DC. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Absolutely. I come right off of Brandon's words. And I can tell you, him and I talk, we are on the same page. Our goal is for him and I to be in the runoff, and we need your help to do that. We want Tony out. It's us. Before he puts another, 13 million last year after gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, it's us. So my name is Keith Barton. I gotta give you my background. I hate talking about this part, but it's really important for you to understand. I'm not gonna get away from this either. All right, so I grew up on a small farm in Alaska, riding horses, racing, hunting on horseback even. So I know oil and gas. I know what West Texas is like. And then I spent 20 years in the United States Marine Corps. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So I started out as a recon Marine, and then I commissioned as an officer, and I flew Huey helicopters. Then I became a logistics officer, and then my last tour was as a logistics advisor to the Afghan National Army. Outside the wire, 6 days a week, with threat all around. My last job in the Marine Corps, I was actually coordinating between 33 units across the country. So I've been out for 8 years now, and I've worked for some rather large companies. I started with, 1 minute. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to hear more.
Hey, that's a little short on 1 minute, but we wanted to make sure that y'all get enough questions in. And I'm also doing my best to make sure that this doesn't go long. Some of y'all may have attended meetings sometimes that go a really long time. I have an alarm set on my phone to let me know when we need to start wrapping it up. So next, I'm going to move to the questions. All right. First question, we'll start with you. Why do you want to represent CD21?
Well, I'm going to represent CD23, not 21, but we're going to go there.
Grammar error.
The biggest thing, ladies and gentlemen, is like Brandon, I looked at what our congressman was doing, and I looked at the problems that you all are facing. And I'm an operator, I'm a logistics expert, and most of what you guys are going through are logistical problems that have been completely ignored. And I promise you, there's numerous that I can fix without even asking for more money, because that's just what I do in the real world. I do root cause analysis, I fix something from the bottom, and then we see second, third, and fourth order effects. And my main personal reason was actually child court reform. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Charlie Kirk told us that the way to fix America is to fix the family. But he never had a lever. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the lever. And everybody who's tried to do it, unfortunately, were attorneys. So what they do is they go after state law. They try to violate the 10th Amendment. Mine simply takes the funding already coming from the federal government and incentivizes the states to give gender-neutral rulings and 50-50 custody. And what does that do for us? That brings up children, that lowers mental health and issues in children, raises income, raises the entire area, lowers crime. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is passed, it would save the country hundreds of billions of dollars. And it's a 3-page bill. So that is why I ran. I ran to fix the court system, to bring America up from the bottom, and fix all the issues that you have been ignored. Because I won't ignore you, ever. Thank you.
Well, the simple answer to why I'm running is, why I wanted to run is I didn't want to. I never thought, I've always thought that politics was important. I've been in politics been involved in politics for pretty much my entire life. I volunteered with the Trump campaign back in the primary in 2016. I was always very politically engaged, whether it was the Second Amendment or just constitutional advocacy in general. We went across to state capitals across the country when they were facing draconian gun laws and rallied hundreds of people against it. I was asked by now former Congressman Matt Gaetz to testify before a congressional field hearing on ATF overreach and government overreach in general. It's something I always thought was important, but I never thought in a million years that I would have my name on a ballot. I just left that to the psychopaths that decided to run for office, present company excluded, of course. But it was never in my future. I never thought I would. And then I, again, started paying attention to the votes of my congressman. And I realized that even though I'm very comfortable, I'm living my dream job. I've got companies that I truly believe in, people that I work with that are good friends of mine, that I would spend my day with nobody else. I really love what it is I do, and I've got a very comfortable life. But I had to make a decision on the fact that there are things in this life that are more important than being comfortable. And I think that this district deserves an actual conservative, somebody who actually respects the Constitution, who will vote like a Republican, and not the moderate that we have been forced to stomach for the last 6 years. I think we deserve better, and that's why I decided to jump into this race. It was the second worst decision of my life was to jump in the first time. The worst decision of my life was to jump in the second. But I truly believe it's important, and that's why I'm here, is because I'm just a ticked-off business owner that lives right here in West Texas, and I think we deserve better. And so that's what I'm hoping to bring to DC. Thank you.
All right, we're going to start with Brandon next. Regarding medical care and skyrocketing insurance costs, what is your opinion of the Affordable Care Act, and what do you think needs to be changed?
Just out of curiosity, do we have any fans of the Affordable Care Act here? Well, aside from one, I think we're all in good company.
No, he said fan.
Oh, yeah. So aside from one miscommunication error, I think we're in good company. I don't think the answer to issues that exist in this country, by and large, has ever been more government. Government is the black thumb of industry. Whatever it touches dies. It either gets more expensive, the quality goes down, or both. The Department of Education is a great example of that. Since that's been instituted, the cost of education's gone up and the quality has gone down. Same is true when the government tries sticking its nose in healthcare. If anybody thinks government getting involved in healthcare is a good idea, I implore you to go check out the VA. See the quality of care that they're getting there. That's its own separate issue that I hope we get into later, but a lot of the things that we can do right out the gate is getting the government out of it. The one thing I will say is drug prices in the United States are absolutely absurd. And the reason is America is actually subsidizing the drug cost of other countries. Drug companies are using the United States as a way to pay for lower drug costs in other countries, other first world countries, European countries. Sometimes we are paying 500 to 1,000% more per drug, which is skyrocketing our healthcare costs. It's skyrocketing our health insurance costs, and we shouldn't be paying for it. We already pay enough of Europe's bills through NATO. We shouldn't be paying the bills of the entire rest of the world. We should not be the world's piggy bank. We need to start looking out for Americans first. And when I talk about being America first, I'm not just talking about it, I truly believe it. We need to start putting our interests above those of the rest of the world because I'm tired of being the rest of the world's piggy bank. We need to lower our healthcare costs and we need to start looking out for our people first.
So Wes is asking us questions that he knew we'd both have the same answer to. So I agree completely with Brandon. All right, and how do we lower it? We go back in history and we have free market again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the government is subsidizing so many people that absolutely have the ability to work, and the ACA is part of it. And what did they do? The insurance companies are making more money than ever, right? And they're doing it off of our backs. Somebody's always got to pay the bill, right? There's no such thing as government money. It's taxpayer money, and we got to do it right. This gives me, since Brandon already answered most of it, this actually gives me something to talk about your district, though. So being a helicopter pilot, being a combat lifesaver, I understand the struggles you guys have with the threats to your emergency evac system. Okay, so that is actually already one of my plans, is to protect that from Dallas-Fort Worth is trying to take that, okay? And actually, it needs to be extended because when one of you get hurt in numerous areas, it's gonna take too long to get you back. And that's unsatisfactory. So I'm gonna help work on that as well. But so yeah, ACA note, let's go free market. Let's protect District 23. Thank you.
All right, you're up. Define liberty and what it means to you.
For liberty, for me, it's liberty in the pursuit of happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in what used to be the freest country in the world. I don't think we are as free as we used to be, for sure. And we need to get back there. We need to be conservatives. We have to get out and vote. And we got to get our freedoms back. They're protected. And we have that right. We have that right to live our lives the way we want to live them. And everybody has a little bit different life. That's one reason why I really like the 10th Amendment. I do. Let the Dems have their states, right? Absolutely. We got to protect, especially Texas. Right? We need to have the ability to live how we would like to do. So that's what it means to me. Thank you.
I absolutely love this question because it's literally the slogan of my campaign is what I believe the definition of liberty is, which is dangerous freedom. You know, the American experiment, which is what I love calling it because that's absolutely what this was an experiment in dangerous freedom, choosing liberty and the pursuit of happiness over security. Because as we all know the saying, you know, those who choose temporary safety over freedom deserve neither. Something along those lines. Paraphrasing. But truly, I mean, I think it's incredibly important. And that's something we need to absolutely get back to. Liberty is the foundational belief that built this country, that we can go our own way. We do not need the government involved in every facet of our lives. Not only do we not need it, we are worse off for it. It's something that we as a country have always stood behind, choosing, again, dangerous freedom and liberty over temporary security. And there are a lot of people in this country that would like you to do the opposite of that. I mean, we saw it during COVID. I think that was another great example of a rollout of a lot of experimental things trying to test the waters to see how much we'd be willing to tolerate giving up, how many freedoms we would be willing to give up. And there's a lot of people in a lot of states that the answer was as much as the government asks me. Wrong answer. Texas had a very strong answer with that. A lot of people in rural areas knew right out the gate, we cannot sacrifice liberty. And that's something that I want to bring to the table as well. I will never make a vote that sacrifices your freedom for the promise of government safety, because if that's what you do, you deserve neither. There you go, musical chairs.
We're just making sure the speakers work. All right, this one is, the next two are just what I call lightning round questions, and just raise your hand if you agree with it, or keep your hand down if you don't. Should we abolish the income tax? All right, next question. If elected, would you join the Freedom Caucus? All right, there we go. Okay, next question, and we're gonna start with Brandon on this one. Across multiple states, including here in CD23, I got it right this time, communities are debating the rapid expansion of data centers, battery storage facilities, solar farms, data mining facilities, and expansion of transmission lines to include multiple 765 kilovolt lines. What role should the federal government play in this process, and how would you as the next congressman for CD23 be involved as projects move forward?
You know, this one's particularly interesting because I did run last cycle, and last cycle I visited every one of, at that point it was 29 counties in the district. And I came out and listened and did town halls in every single county in the district, and I listened to a lot of the concerns people had, and I'm doing the same thing this time. And this is a very new issue compared to last cycle. AI data centers, battery storage facilities, these are all things that really didn't come up 2 years ago, and it's rapidly expanding. There are a lot of companies in New York, in California, Silicon Valley, that are taking advantage of the low price of land out here in West Texas and are using that to sap its resources. And not only that, they're also getting taxpayer subsidization. They're getting tax exemptions. They're getting benefits. When in reality, the only thing that they're bringing to the table, they promise jobs. Not a lot of jobs are coming, especially not jobs for locals. They're bringing their own people. They're bringing the promise of jobs, they're not delivering, and they're sapping local communities of their resources. That's something that I definitely want to make sure that on a federal level, they are not subsidized in any way, shape, or form. And actually on the opposite, on the state level, and sorry Wes, I'm gonna throw you under the bus here, that's where the state legislature needs to get involved, and I think as a federal congressman, you can kind of levy your hand to make sure that you know federal support is behind that, to make sure it gets done, is to make sure that these people are not only not getting state subsidies and state tax benefits, but they're actually paying their fair share. They're paying their way. Because if they're gonna sap the water, the energy, and the resources from the local community, they better be making it worthwhile for the rural communities. Because there's a lot of people that are willing to throw us under the bus to get power for the Pacific Northwest, you know, California, big corporations, and they leave us out to dry. They don't care if they toxify our water. They don't care if our grids go down. They don't care if we're without water or our rivers go dry. They don't care, and they've never cared, and we need to make sure that that's not the case.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I absolutely agree. This kind of gets right into my energy plan, so I am absolutely going to be fighting these. And one of the biggest reasons why I want to fight it is your farmland. Okay, just like fighting solar in your prime land, just like fighting windmills in your farmland. So how are we going to do that? Well, you need Congress's support, which we all know you are not getting. Right? We do need Wes's support, and I have full faith in this man at least. But by rolling out an energy plan, and here's why the energy plan for you all is so important. It's because in the last, 3 or 4 years, Texas has gotten 126 new headquarters, right? Texas is expanding very fast. And guess what? District 23 is being left behind. But there is something we can do, and that is energy. So we're gonna go unlock natural gas. Why? Because the North is starving for it. Prices are terrible down here for it, but they are starving for it up there. Then I'm going to go after those solar panels. I'm going to go after those AI databases. Go after restrictions on where they can actually put those, All right, for solar, I want them to go on your buildings and on your carports. They're coming, ladies and gentlemen. No one's gonna be able to stop them, but we can stop them from taking up your land. Then we go nuclear, okay? How long that's gonna take, I don't know, but it has to start now, all right? Once we start building up this energy plan, these reasons for all this other infrastructure to come in lowers. And the best part about all this is it is private funding vocational training, not subsidies from the federal government. This is going to bring up the entire region. It's going to protect you. It's going to help you help the rest of Texas, which is absolutely needed, and it's going to keep your way of life the way it is. So that is why my plan is a root cause. Doing this energy plan affects so much down the road. There's so many different issues on my list and why this will help. And as I said. All right, keep going.
All right, President Trump has advocated for expansion of the border wall with unique geography, a state park, and a national park in Brewster County. In your opinion, how should the federal government go forward with a border wall in Brewster County?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I actually have the perfect background to help with the border wall, okay? And I'm gonna pick on Tony. He never went to combat, all right? I was a recon Marine pilot, logistics officer, every single piece of knowledge you need to expand this wall. The wall, ladies and gentlemen, can never be done, ever. It needs to have a constant line on the budget, and it needs what we call defense in depth. So you use those natural barriers, you finish making the physical barriers, we have to support them with what's called ISR, all right? Drones, cameras, all that, more patrols. And then you start adjusting. Once you're done, you start adjusting. Why? Because it's not just about illegal immigration, ladies and gentlemen. It's about the cartels. And they are a business with an illegal commodity. They are smart and well-funded, and they will change their tactics. So we can never stop with the wall. Now, why I say that, I am also, while I'm 100% against illegal immigration, I'm also 100% for legal immigration, okay? So being a logistician, I also want to improve the throughput through the wall to include for legal immigrants, speeding that up. Not making somebody with a master's degree in engineering wait 10 years to come into this country. That's unsatisfactory. And also speed up the goods going back and forth. So the wall is extremely important to me. And if you didn't know, all the border towns due to this crisis have been decimated. So that is the next step, is to start working for them as well. So that's why I also think I'm the perfect candidate to help with the wall, because I know exactly what it needs from real life experience. Thank you.
Now, I was in favor of the wall just enthusiastically back in the 2016 primary when I was very first helping out on the Trump campaign, and I'm still in favor of it now. Trump wants more wall. I think he's been owed. He's been working on it for about 10 years now. At the same time, I do think that it needs to be a multifaceted approach. Again, we need technology involved. We need the new technology, new assets that we have available to our disposal. It needs to be a multi-front approach. It's combined forces, if you will. But on top of that, one of the best things that the Trump administration has done so far to actually change these things and to actually stop the Biden illegal immigration crisis, the border crisis, was to loosen the ROE, the rules of engagement, and actually let law enforcement, Border Patrol, National Guard do the job that they signed up to do. What I'm worried about is that as soon as we get a Democrat president back into office, which, don't get me wrong, I hope we get 8 years of J.D. Vance after this. That would be kind of nice, right? But at some point going forward, we will have another Democrat in office. And I want to make sure, as easy as this was, for Trump to, stroke of a pen, fix this problem, a Democrat can get right back into office, stroke of a pen, and, well, you know the rest. That's why we need strong representatives in Congress, including representing the biggest border district in the entire country, to advocate to codifying a lot of these changes. So it's not just the stroke of a pen. It's not just an executive action away from going back to the way it was. We need actual laws passed while we still have the presidency and while we still have the legislative branch on our side. We need to get this stuff in writing now. This district cannot afford to go back to the way this was 2-3 years ago. We need to fix this while we have the momentum, because there's a lot of people say it's unpopular because, oh, we don't want to lose the majority. What good is the majority if we don't fix the problems we have when we have it? So we absolutely need that right
now. All right, next question. In the book of Matthew, Jesus says, "Therefore everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock." What foundational principles do you believe will ensure the United States will still exist 100 years from now?
What a deep question. Hit me with the humdingers over here. I really do believe, first of all, and what I was saying in the beginning, one of the foundational principles, we have many. For starters, this is a Christian nation. This is a nation that was founded on biblical beliefs. But on top of that, it was a nation that was founded on the idea of, again, dangerous freedom, liberty first. We are paving our own way in the world that is, to the likes of which has never been done before in the modern stage. And we were rewarded handsomely. We were 13 renegade colonies that took those principles forward, and now we are the leading global superpower in the world and have been that way for 100 years. That proves that the principles that we have built this country on work. Now, we've got some tweaking to do. We have some growth right now. We have some growth to do. We've had people, starting with Woodrow Wilson, FDR, some people that have kind of corrupted the vision for this country that needs to be set right, frankly. We have runaway debt. We have runaway inflation. We have $38 trillion in debt and climbing. 20% of your tax dollars right out the gate go to servicing the debt. They don't go to taking care of disabled veterans. It doesn't go to national defense. It doesn't go to infrastructure. That is the problem. And we are going to enslave our children and grandchildren to generational debt slavery if we don't get these things corrected. We need to go back to the foundational principles of this country, and we need to get back to financial responsibility before it's too late.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, I agree with Brandon. I've been a Lutheran all my life, and so those principles are very important to me. But I'm going to go back to something I already talked about, and doing root cause. The root cause of most of our issues in this country is the breakup of the family. That's our foundation, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we get the power back. We start with building the families back up, and that's exactly why I want to fix child support. And then we don't stop, okay? We keep us together, because together we're stronger than anything. Then I also agree with Brandon, it's the budget, okay? And that's another reason why here in District 23, I think I'm the perfect candidate for you, because I'm not going to be asking for Congress for a lot of money. I know you look at me like I'm crazy, right? But that's all Tony does. He just asks for money and he wastes it. He doesn't do the things right? Water's a perfect example. You guys are losing 30% of your water into the ground. What did Tony do? He shoved billions into putting more water into that system. I'm gonna go fix your water. I'm gonna use our fiscal budget responsibly on the root cause issues. We have to stop spending money everywhere. And it's up to us congressmen, if we make it in, to follow that dollar further down. That's what a lot of congressmen don't do. That's the issue with NGOs, right? As soon as we get it to a non-government organization, it's gone. We have no clue where it's at. So those are my two foundations. We're gonna use our money correctly on the projects that the legislators know are the issues, because they hear from the people, because they're legislators that actually listen to you all. And then we're gonna fix the families as well. That's the two-prong. Ladies and gentlemen, we do that, we secure America for the next 100 years. We get back there to where we were. Those are our two root cause issues right now. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Next question. With the recent floods that have taken 118 lives in Kerr County, as the next congressman of CD23, what would you do if a similar natural disaster happens in your district?
Well, shoot, I already kind of started. I need to protect your CASEVAC issues, okay? And we cannot let Austin and Fort Worth and Dallas take those funds. We need to expand clinics as well, including for veterans. And we need to expand your law enforcement and your emergency response systems. So this is definitely an area I do want to spend more money on. not just go find it first, because a lot of my other projects, I'm gonna go find the savings and reallocate. This is something I'm gonna go hard in for more funds, because you all need it. People need to understand, if you don't have a congressman that's gonna fight for you, and they're gonna look at your population and they're gonna say, well, that's more per capita, doesn't matter. You're not taking into account distance. This is West Texas, ladies and gentlemen. Distance is crazy, and it's gonna take people a long time to get places. You all need more funds within these services, these safety services. And I'm gonna fight for that, because, and again, that's a logistical issue, okay? And I understand CASEVAC plans, I understand emergency response plans, okay? So I can help by speaking with your local areas. Where do we need those funds to build up what piece at a time to ensure that we have 100% coverage in District 23 for any natural disaster like that? All right, thank you.
Well, I think right out the gate, you have to start by showing up. Now, this one's actually pretty close to my heart, because I remember when all of that first went down. Wes, you and I went down there for at least the first few days. At least I was there. You were on the ground pretty much the entire time. These were our friends. These were our neighbors. I know people that are close to me who lost loved ones in that flood. We have to take care of each other. And it starts, again, by showing up, which it was really disheartening, because we were out there for the first couple days, even just little things like giving energy drinks to first responders who are working 2-day shifts. We were doing body recovery, things like that. And then when we're leaving, covered in mud, on the way back to San Antonio, I find out that Tony Gonzalez is on his way over there for the first time in 4 or 5 days, just because there's an opportunity for a photo op with President Trump. I took it personally. I took it personally, because he doesn't show up unless there's something in it for him. That's not leadership. You need somebody that's going to advocate for you, with you, whether there's something in it for them or not, because that's the basic responsibility of a leader. If this district needs resources to handle a natural disaster, I will be there advocating for it on the ground, in DC, wherever I need to be, because that is the bare minimum. And unfortunately, that's not what we have right now. I aim to fix that.
So we're actually making pretty good time here. I did another forum for CD21, and it had 10 candidates in it. I think we only got 4 questions for the night. We're doing pretty good. All right, next question. Really easy one. Who is your favorite founding father and why?
Thomas Jefferson, because he was the good angel on George Washington's shoulder, not the other guy. I don't know, he exemplified the ideas of, again, liberty, independence, not just independence from England, but independence as an entity, as a human, from the state. Independence of the federal, of the states from the federal government. I have a saying that the government that governs best is the government that governs least. And if you can't have that, the government that governs best is the government that governs most locally. Again, it's why I'm a big fan of the 10th Amendment. I think, and it's very, very clear in the Constitution, that anything not granted to the federal government is then left to the states. I think we've lost that over the years somehow. We need to get back to it. He was an excellent statesman, and that's another thing we need to get back to. No politicians, no career politicians who were there for a pay raise or to get a good lobbying job or a CNN correspondence job once they get fired, like Tony's going to do. You need actual statesmen who go there not because they need a paycheck, but because they've succeeded in the real world and they want to give back to their country. That's what we need to get back to, and unfortunately, right now we don't have that. But that's what those are the sort of principles that Thomas Jefferson exemplified, and I would be honored to carry in those footsteps.
Well, since Brandon and I keep having the same damn answer, because in this case, this is another thing. Him and I are both constitutional guys, all right? And if you look at both of ours, if you look at the graphs that are all out there, right? We're both huge on independent rights, right? Individual rights. And so yes, absolutely, Thomas Jefferson is up there anyway. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to tell you my personal favorite that I would actually want to have a beer with, and that would be Ben Franklin. That man was a nerd, okay? That man was a total nerd, and just like me. And I would, oh shoot, man, I can't. It's such a hard answer. I would go hang out with all of them. Absolutely. So, Thomas Jefferson, because he He's exactly like us, individual rights, and yeah, Ben Franklin, man, that I would pick that man's brain. Can you imagine what he'd do for our country if he was here now? My goodness, we'd fix all sorts of issues. So those are my answers. Thanks.
Okay, we're moving pretty good on time. I'm going to do one more question, and then we're going to go to 2 questions that we have collected from the audience. Name 2 U.S. congressmen, current or recent, that you believe has served the American people well.
Oh man, with an 18% approval rating? So that is super hard. Hunt has certainly. I love Wesley Hunt. And I got the chance to meet that man here recently. He actually knew who I was. I was really surprised. And obviously when I left, I gave him crap. I told him, you know, man, you know Cubans are still cooler than Apaches, right? So we are definitely going to talk about that. I think he is as conservative as it gets. He shows that diversity does not matter when it comes to your ideology. He is a conservative man. He wants family, and he's doing it right. Man, 2. Man, it's just really hard right now because I look at some of these voting records and they are all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. We see it, and just like with the SAVE Act, why we can't get it passed through the Senate right now is ridiculous. So really, I'm going to cheat again. Right now, there's only one I have full respect for, and then I guess second would probably be Chip Roy, but he's moving on from us, so that's my answer. Please.
I'm going to cheat this a little bit too, just because there's actually 4 that come to mind. Several of whom I'm grateful to be able to consider actual friends. Whether they consider me one back is up to them, but I will put words in their mouth. One of them is Eli Crane. I think he's a fantastic member of the House. You've got former Congressman Matt Gaetz, the conservative firebrand, and an avid supporter. As soon as I told him I was jumping back in this race, he put his full support behind me. I was very, very just honored to have him on my side. You've got like Georgia Congressman Andrew Clyde, who's been an outstanding advocate. He's a gun store owner in Georgia. He's an outstanding advocate for constitutional rights. The list kind of goes on. There are a handful of people that are in DC actually fighting for us. Not many, but there are a handful of people that I believe are there actually fighting for the right reasons and getting good things done. And another one, again, is Congressman Chip Roy. I will say, you know, it's sad to see him leave the House, but he has been a better congressman for Texas District 23 than Tony Gonzalez has ever been, and that's sad. That's sad that it took a congressman from a different district. He's in CD 21, and he was out here actually passing border legislation when we needed it. He was representing us. He was there in the Kerrville flooding. He was doing all sorts of things that an actual congressman should do. And the fact that we were represented better by somebody who doesn't even live here than the guy who allegedly is from here and trying to fight for us and represent us is a travesty. So those are a few that I look up to, and I'm hoping to join their ranks soon. Thank you.
Brandon, thank you for speaking up to where we can understand what you're saying. Half these people we can't hear, and they mumble.
I know how it is because I'm also deaf. So
I'm not deaf, but we can't understand.
I've done way too much shooting in my life.
I'm going to take a minute to talk about a congressman that they didn't mention that also is great. During the flooding, I saw a lot of people show up to get their 5 minutes with the reporter and pretend like they knew what was going on. A lot of y'all know who Marcus Luttrell is. We had Morgan Luttrell, his brother, show up. He was in the water the entire time looking for people. He did not, as far as I know, at a single time get in front of a news camera or try to get his picture taken with anybody. That guy was out there doing exactly what he needed to be doing. And so I hope if y'all, whichever one gets elected, I hope that y'all remember that kind of character that Morgan showed during that time. So, all right, we're gonna move to 2 questions that were from the audience, and I hope I can read handwriting. I'm over 40, so I'm gonna put my glasses on.
They suit you.
That's good. What would you say, we're gonna start with you, Brandon. What would you say to those who want to throw in the towel on taking back the Republican Party because of the weak-kneed leadership currently in the Senate and House? And what do we tell our friends with this mindset?
I'd say it's easy. That's the easy approach, is just to say it can't be fixed. Oh, it's all corrupt. And you hear this a lot with people, when they talk about, and mostly people who aren't very involved in politics. They take a cursory glance at it and they say, oh, it's all rigged, it's a two-party system, we'll never get anything done. And it's easy to see on a cursory level where their frustration is at. But the truth about the two-party system is, with events like this, with primaries, you get to choose who represents you of those two parties. If you're not liking the guy that the Republican Party has propped up, you get to have a voice. You get to say, I don't like that guy. I don't like what he stands for. I don't care that he's spending $13 million to lie about his opponent. I want something different because I don't like his behavior, I don't like the way he's represented the district, and I don't like his voting record. I'm choosing another path. You have that ability. And if more people exercised it and more people got involved in these primaries, I'm of the opinion primaries are just as important, if not more important than the general. Because you get to choose who is representing you on that ballot in November. These are critically important, and that's what I would tell somebody like that. It's easy to give up, it's hard. The path that you should normally take, and the path that will be most beneficial not only to your own life, but to others and the future of the country, is usually the harder one. And it's easy to give up. It's easy to not try. It's hard to get involved. It's hard to door knock. It's hard to run for office. Those are not easy things to do. But it's things we have to start doing because we have a responsibility to ourselves, our country, our legacy, and our children. That's the answer.
All right, ma'am, is that better?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm gonna nerd this out a little bit because that's what I do. So you guys should understand the numbers right now, and this is gonna shock some people. 35% of this country are Republican. 35% are independent. Only 27% are Democrats and 3% are undecided. But they keep winning. So if we want change, it's in this room, ladies and gentlemen. It's not only you all are absolutely into politics, you're learning, but we need the next step. The next step is you almost have to drag your friends and family down to vote as well. You need to help educate them as well. Because we outnumber the Democrats. We just don't go vote. I'd like to say most of us because we actually work, but that's what is necessary, ladies and gentlemen. You have to get everybody else involved too. And we're in a social media age, ladies and gentlemen. You should be putting your opinions out there and getting people to go down and vote. And then when I say, also a nerd, at one point in Congress, we had over 80% lawyers in Congress. We're down to 55%. Guess what? I'm not a big fan of having lawyers in Congress either. It is time for more operators. It is more time for more businessmen because we need people to start treating taxpayer funds like a business because it's your money and it should be spent the correct way. So this all comes down to you, ladies and gentlemen. And in this district, let's face it, March 3rd is the election, followed by March 28th. November's not the election. All right, Tony barely beat Brandon, and he, let's face it, smoke checked the general, right? This is the election, ladies and gentlemen. You guys need to make a smart choice on somebody who is going to help you, okay? Period. We got to get Tony out, and that's how we'll do it, and we all need your help. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, this is the last question, and before we answer this question, I just remind you, once this is over, the candidates will probably be at their tables. Feel free to ask them any questions you have there if you feel like there was something else that you needed from them that you wanted to know. Last question, we'll start with you. Do you support ICE in Texas, and if so, what exactly is its purpose?
I don't know that one. What is ICE in Texas?
ICE, immigration.
Eyes in Texas. I was like, wait a minute, what? I know I've done my research. God bless America. All right, so I'm going to go to Minnesota, okay? And an individual rights guy. I'm also a constitutional law guy. That is not peaceful protest, ladies and gentlemen. That is obstruction of justice. And actually, I do not blame. Thank you. I don't blame the people of Minnesota for doing it. Because I'm a root cause guy. I blame the left politicians manipulating them to do it. And it is unsatisfactory. They are getting people hurt. Ladies and gentlemen, if ICE is next door, you know what? Actually, about 3 weeks ago, a police officer was about 3 doors down from my house. You think I went and put my gun on and went and messed with what they were doing? Hell no. I don't want to die. I'm not stupid, right? That's self-preservation. So, and I said this before, I'm 100% against illegal immigration, 100% for legal immigration. And you know what? I'm going to explain why I'm really for legal immigration. My spouse is from Venezuela. She came to this country not speaking a word of English, earned 3 degrees in psychology, and is now a major in the Air Force as a psychologist. She is one of those kinds of people. They're the best that we bring in. We don't just release people into this country that are not going to help build our country up. So absolutely, 100% in favor of ICE, and I'm going to do everything I can to help support them. I think one of the first things we need to do is extend their training a little bit, because they are dealing with issues that frankly only people like me in the military learned how to do, crowd control and whatnot, right? So they're in bad situations right now for things they don't know how to handle. And they don't have the rules of engagement to even be able to handle them. So the lawmakers need to fight back and support them. Absolutely. Thank you.
Not only do I fully support ICE in Texas, I fully support ICE in every single state in the country where they are needed to enforce federal law. The one thing we will differ probably a little bit is on legal immigration. I'm in favor of certain legal immigration. We have this idea that we're taught in schools by liberal school teachers that, bring me your poor, you're tired, you're huddled masses. We are trying to help the world with immigration. We don't owe the world a thing. We get to choose who we bring into this country, and I think it should be on a basis of what helps the United States, not what helps people who think that they are owed citizenship to this great country. If we need doctors, traditionally, this is how we did it. If we need doctors, we bring in doctors. If we need engineers, we bring in engineers. The goal of immigration is not to provide a better life for people that are not willing to make this country better on top of that. It's not to bring in hundreds of thousands of H-1B visas to replace American workers. It is to preserve the nation, to help us with things that we need, and to grow this country, grow our GDP, to help the United States, not be the protector of the world. Now, when it comes to ICE, specifically in Minnesota, for example, where we're seeing this really get cracked down on, you have a lot of manufactured outrage from the schools, from the media, from the politicians. They're learning right now that if they are loud enough and they break enough stuff and they're enough of a problem, people will lose the will to enforce the law. This is where we cannot afford to be weak. We cannot be weak on this. You cannot reward behavior like that, because the only thing that does is teach them that if we organize and we break the law together, then we'll get away with it and we'll get exactly what we want. We need to be stronger, not weaker, and that's what we'd like to bring to the table. Thank you.
We're going to finish with 2-minute closing statements. We're going to start with you, Brandon, and then we'll go to you, Keith.
Again, it's a pleasure to be back here in Alpine. It's a beautiful place. I love coming here. And it's my honor to be representing, once again, the voice of the grassroots, the real, true conservatives in Texas who are tired of people like Tony. It's been the honor of my lifetime. It was an honor last time coming that close. Very proud of our team. Very proud of our team. This time we have a more conservative map. We have better fundraising. Every quarter I've been in this race, we've out-fundraised Tony Gonzalez, and that was the only thing he had going for him. We have the team, we have the fundraising, we have the map, we have the name recognition. If you've ever wanted to get Tony Gonzalez out of office, this is the cycle we do it. He's a wounded candidate. We've got a very strong team. This is the time, and this might be our last opportunity. He's a very well-funded, very well-entrenched politician. He's one of the best-funded Republicans in the state of Texas. Not because he's done anything spectacular. He's a very unremarkable congressman. He sold us out, and he sold us to the special interests. And we need to be loud in saying we will not tolerate that. If you betray our interest, if you betray the Constitution, if you betray the district, if you betray the country, if you betray Republicans, not only will we not support you, we will fire you. And that's exactly what we're going to tell Tony on March 3rd. You're fired. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you at the polls.
Ladies and gentlemen, I absolutely want to reiterate, thank you. Look at this turnout. You guys are awesome. I will tell you, I mean, this is absolutely new to me, so I'm still learning how to do, well, actually what Brandon does very well. But what I can tell you I don't have to learn how to do is fix problems. Because I'm an operator. You can't fake being an operator. You go into a room with somebody trying to fake to be an operator, and you pick them out in 2 seconds. Okay? I can fix the issues you guys are having quickly and efficiently. Frankly, I'll reiterate, as Brandon said, this is our time to get Tony out. And I am in this race too. It's not a two-headed monster, it's a three-headed monster. And we have a chance to get Tony under 25%. And that takes you all voting for us. Because again, if we go through March 3rd and he's still on that ballot, he's gonna throw millions at this. He's holding it in the rear, and I don't even know. We would have no clue at that point. As much as my popularity is growing and how much he already has, we don't know what'll happen. So it's up to you all to get out there, get your friends and families March 3rd, and keep him and I in the runoff. And then we'll really have some debates, Brandon. All right? Okay? So we are on the same page on this. Absolutely, okay? That's why you don't see us throwing mud. We're absolutely trying to do this for you. So help us out. I can't thank you enough for having us. God bless America. God bless Texas.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you to the Brewster County Republican Women's Club, and I hope you all have a safe drive home tonight. Thank you all very much. Good night.